Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha Tatsavitra Varenayam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Asto Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गम्या ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहि तेजस्वी नावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि ओम शांति 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 ओम. So Narada Bhakti Sutra. We all know that the philosophical textbooks are written by the great rishis and the thinkers in the form of sutra. So sutra is a form of writing. The term sutra also means a string, a thread. And this is a string on which the arguments and the thoughts are strung together. And it becomes a garland of ideas. So this particular garland has 84 gems in it. So just like a Yoga Sutras by Patanjali that has 196 gems. So this Narada Bhakti Sutra, 84 gems. And 84 gems, they have been divided into 10 chapters. Each chapter has a section also, based upon the ideas which is represented there. And what kind of ideas? Because it's a Bhakti Sutra, everything about Bhakti, divine love, definition of divine love, how to kindle that divine love, how to really develop it first, and magic of satsang, danger of dusang, and means. He has given us the means how to cross this maya, because with this divine love we can cross this maya, but how to do it and how deep this divine love is, and what kind of obstacles we can expect on this, and how to overcome those. So all this we'll see that in this small scripture in 84 lines. Sutra. That's how important these gems are. Sutras are exploratory as well as explanatory. So that means that they explore the depth of that subject, and they also explain in statements also. That's how the sutras are. So the wisdom which is in these sutras, it's embedded in there, so that's why it has to be explained. That's why sometimes you will see that in 1 hour we'll be able to go through over only one sutra. So we got to dig it out, the wisdom. Another thing, you all know that all our 6 darshans, they are in sutra form. That's why they're called Shat Darshan. So this is not part of the Shat Darshan. This is just a Bhakti Darshan. We know the Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras explain the Advaita philosophy. Then there's a Gemini Sutras. They explain the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. So this Narada Bhakti Sutra is not one of those 6. But this particular scripture is a very authoritative textbook on bhakti. There are other scriptures also dedicated to Rishi Narad. There's a Narad Samriti. All the rituals are explained in that Narad Samriti. There is a Narad Manchratran. There is some bhakti in there. But this Narad Bhakti Darshan as the depth of this bhakti. On the bhakti, there is a Shandalya Darshan also. There's a Angirasya Madhya Darshan also. So there are so many other scriptures too. But this Narad Bhakti Darshan is the most popular among the devotees. You all know about Naradji. From very childhood. We've been, whether we study Ramayana or whether we study Bhagavad Puran or any other Puran, you will see the Naradji just roaming throughout the scripture. And Naradji also is one of the 24 avatars. He is a divine personality, eternal saint. You will find him as a friend, as a philosopher, as a guide to all the devotees. There are no temples of Naradji, so he is not really invoked anywhere. But his job is to propagate the path of love, the bhakti. He helped Dhruv. He protected Prahlad's mother. In Bhagavad Puran, we read that story. Prahlad's mother, when she was pregnant, Naradji protected her. He is the one who advised King Kans also to kill all those children of Devaki. There was a Leela behind that too. He is the one who persuaded Ravan to get himself entangled in Bali's tail also in Ramayana. Naradji is the one who came to Rishi Valmiki. Naradji is the one who encouraged Rishi Vyas to write this Bhagavad Puran full of Lord Krishna's love. Naradji is described in the Vedas as one of the sons of the Creator. The Creator is Brahmaji. Brahmaji himself taught to his 4 sons, Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan, Sanat Kumar. And these brothers taught young Narad. They initiated him into this Vedanta at a very young age. And the very name of Narad indicates that he is one who gives knowledge of the Supreme Brahma. Naram dadati iti Narad. He took the perpetual brahmacharya and he just roams everywhere with the chanting of Narayan's name. Narayan. But you see that Naradji taking birth also here and there. He became a Gandharva one time, a celestial being devoted to music. And time and again we see that he fell for the infatuations of the senses. But he pursued diligently his devotional music, sadhana, and he came out of those temptations too. It is said that it was Naradji who invented the most perfect musical instrument, Veena. There is also a story that one time he was watching the dance of Rambha, the Apsara. He was filled with passion and his father ordered him to be born as a Shudra. And Naradji was born in the world. His father was Kashyap, Rishi Kashyap. The Kashyapji who was a son of Marichi, according to Vishnu Puran. And according to the Rig Veda, one time his father was Rishi Kanva also. The sage who brought up Shakuntala in the forest. But in both cases, his mother was a servant girl, a Shudra. The devoted lady, the mother, was working in a family where rishis used to come. And this young boy served those rishis. And this was the fruit of that seva. He became free to move anywhere in the world, singing the glory of the Lord, spreading the message of Narayan everywhere. This is the outcome of the seva he did. So we see Naradji skipping across all these scriptures. That's why ever since we were little, we heard so many stories about Naradji. But very few people know about this Narada Bhakti Sutra. There's no evidence to prove that Naradji actually wrote out those sutras. Whoever the author is of these 84 sutras, they have rightly dedicated this to Dev Rishi Narad. That's how he's called, Dev Rishi Narad. Because in practical philosophy, the importance is not in who wrote it, but the emphasis is whether the philosophy does work. And we'll see that these sutras, aphorisms, they plan out a sure way for the evolution of a person out of this material world. Because it's immaterial who's the author. And these authors, they never even put their names on it. So this Narada Bhakti Sutra is the same way. It starts the same way as Brahma Sutra start, the same way as Jaimini Sutra start, the same way as Yoga Sutras start. The very first word is At. At. At ata bhakti vyakhyasyaamaha. At means now. Atah means therefore. Bhakti, the doctrine of devotion. Vyakhyasyaamaha, we shall explain. Now, therefore, the doctrine of devotion we shall expound. This is a very usual style of the acharyas when they open a sutra textbook. Brahma Sutra, it was Athato Brahma Jignasa. In the Yoga Sutras, Ath Yoga Anushashanam. In Gemini Sutras, Athato Karma Jignasa. So Ath now. So we got to understand what does it really mean when all these great rishis, they say Ath. They mean to tell us that it's very important to have certain qualifications. If you want to practice devotion, otherwise, no matter how much puja part we do, we'll never feel the satisfaction, we'll never become one. We'll never understand what this divine love is all about. We must diligently walk the path of devotion. They say devotion is the easiest, but we'll see from this scripture, when we really understand what true devotion is, it takes a lot more than just going to the temple. It takes a lot more than just doing the puja. Let me give you 7 qualifications which are necessary in a seeker who plans to pursue devotion. They are: number 1, vivek, discrimination, and particularly discrimination in food. Food which we eat through our mouth also, food we take from our eyes also, ears also, nose also, touch also. Discrimination. The second qualification is vimukh. Vimukh means move your face away from this materialism. Simpler way of looking at it is freedom from worldly desires. Vimukh. So vivek, vimukh. The third one is called abhyas, practice. So we need to practice bhakti also. There is a sadhana involved in bhakti also. Fourth one is called kriya. Habit of doing good to others. This habit we got to cultivate. We have a habit of just pleasing ourselves. Habit of doing the seva. That's called kriya. Then comes kalyan. What is kalyan? Purity in thought, word and deed, non-violence, charity, and other virtues. Then comes anavsad, cheerfulness. Doing seva also cheerfully, helping others also cheerfully, doing the practice also cheerfully. Cheerfulness. A bhagat is always happy. And anudvaras, that means absence of excessive hilariousness. Become little serious. Don't be childish. Okay. Vivek, vimukh, abhyas, kriya, kalyan, anavsad, anudvaras. So just see that these are just qualifications necessary to even come on the path of bhakti. So we got to, as we are worshipping every day our deity, cultivating the love, make sure that you keep on pursuing these qualifications also. You remember in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 12, Lord Krishna, while discussing the Bhakti Yoga, he gave us certain qualifications to cultivate. Chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. After having developed at least some of it, if not all 32 or 36 qualities, Lord Krishna tells us, start working on it. What will happen? You'll be able to see me. You'll be able to enter into me. You'll be able to become one with me. And those qualities are just like these qualities, qualifications, which I just mentioned. Okay, these are 7 qualifications. They are no different than those 36 qualities. Okay, it's just like how we really understand, how we open it up. So if these 7 don't make sense, go back to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12. Look at those qualities. Because we know that a mere ethical and moral life, however perfect it may be, cannot by itself bring about the spiritual solace or intense personal experience unless we have these qualifications also. See, moral and ethical life, definitely that is positive, but those are just a baseline. From that baseline, we have to rise above. So we got to see how many positive qualities we are cultivating. Then we can really measure, have I gone? Have I progressed? Just like in the worldly sphere, we look at our progress. How is my bank account? How is my house? Or physically, we look at it. We have our blood drawn. How healthy I am. We look at our weight. So we got to look at the qualities also in us when we are walking on this path of devotion. Only then we'll be able to experience the infinite beatitude. A bhakt wants that. Bhakt wants to feel that God, you are there. How come I don't see you? You are everywhere. I'm trying to feed you every day. How come you don't eat from my hands? And another word over here, Naradji is saying, see, we are going to dedicate to Naradji. We're going to say that Naradji is saying it because it's said Narada Bhakti Sutra. Okay. So he's saying Vyakyasyam. That means expound. And it's like in plural, it's said we, plural. Not I will do it, we are doing it. That really means that Narad is also giving credit to the other acharyas also. See, just like Lord Krishna said, the other rishis, other yogis, they said it. And I'm telling you the same thing. Narad is saying the same thing. So it's almost like a confessing the indebtedness to the earlier acharyas. All the great, because normally when we use the word we think that we are taking the respect for ourselves or giving the respect to somebody. But over here, all the great teachers of devotion, he is defining by saying we. So this is the indication, okay? We shall give a commentary on devotion. So explanation of divine love from his own personal experience though. So now, therefore, the doctrine of devotion we shall expound. Okay, so just remember that. Just 3 words over here, but very deep message in here. Let's look at the next verse. Satu param prem rupaha asmin. Sa means that. Over here, that means that devotion. Because we are talking about devotion, the bhakti. Tu mean indeed Param Prem Rupa. Param means supreme, of the nature of supreme devotion. Asmin, in that. The devotion is indeed of the nature of supreme love, which is directed towards God. We do love people around us. We love even things around us. But over here, we are talking about God Himself. So it's an extreme love for God. It's intense and many, many times intense. So this is the nature of love. Tulsidas ji explained love. Here's a love for Raghunath. Raghunath is who? Ram. Tulsidas ji, Isht is Ram ji. He said, Kami nari pyare jami, lobhi priye jami dam. Timi Raghunath nirantar priya lago mohe Ram. Kami nari is like a lustful person likes the other person, the beloved. Greedy person likes the wealth. So worldly people, they love worldly things or worldly people. But he says, Timi Raghunath Nirantar, like a continuously, constantly, all the time, I'm in love with Ram. Priya lago mohe Ram. So supreme love for God. That supreme love does not depend on anything. Worldly love does depend on something. So supreme love is unconditional. It is when a mind is totally tuned towards God, totally demanding nothing, not even liberation. This supreme love, there's no condition. Worldly love, still we have some conditions. If you don't do this, I'm going to stop loving you. We hear it all the time. I used to love, I am not in love anymore. Our own love also, don't we see that in the things when we get them, we love them. After a while, we are ready to depart from them. But this divine love, param prema rupaha, this word, that's what it says. So your thoughts, when they constantly flow in love towards the Supreme, this is the love he's talking about. There's nothing else in the mind. Body is doing other things, but mind is, because it is from the mind. You could be cleaning the floor, you could be taking care of a big corporation, but your mind is constantly flowing towards God. This is Param Prem Rupa. So this is a attitude of the heart in love. This state is called Ananya Prem. Lord Krishna used that word, Ananya Bhakti. Ananya. That means there's not Anya. Ananya, just only one. Exclusive love. That is Param Prem Rupa. So this total love for the Lord is devotion. Because I think Naradji, he wants to make a distinction between the ordinary love and the pure love. And I think that's why he's employing this term too. Indeed. See, in sutra form of writing, each and every word There's a reason that word is used. No extra word is there. So even a two word, because they are not trying to rhyme. See, in the mantra and the shloks, there is some rhyming done. In the sutra, there is no rhyming. Each and every word has a deep significance. So this tu means that it's not ordinary love. It's a pure devotion. Because in the lower love, the lover expects something in return. So according to Naradji, the exclusive love for God is Param Prema Rupa. And Asmin. So instead of specifying God by any of the usual terms, because sometimes we see Brahm name or Atma or Ishwar or Ram or Krishna or Shiv or any other name, there are countless names for God. Naradji is deliberately using the word Asmin. So in order to avoid any kind of sectarianisms, it's for everybody. It could be for a Christian, could be a Jesus Christ or cross. Anybody who is in a Sikh religion, Guru Granth Sahib or any of those gurus. So it could be anything, Asmin. So the divine pronoun that indicates all concepts of God. It also includes both the manifest and unmanifest. It could be the eminent and the transcendent. Both the concepts of God, with a form and without a form. It's only the love he's looking at. Love is the relationship that grows in joy and ecstasy between the lover and the beloved. It becomes a bond. That bond is the one which is holding them together into the permanent intimacy in joyous feeling. It's a bond which is not dependent upon anything. Or you can use the word link. So love is a link that connects, a force that attracts, a fascination that seizes. Or it's like a clasp. Whichever way you want to use, I want you to just bring your mind to this kind of a relationship where there's just a oneness. Sure, there's a two, God and me. Because for a Bhagat, there has to be a duality. Only then we can show the love. But love of this height. It's like a personal experience or the enchantment we cannot have unless there are two. So for a Bhagat, definitely there are two. Okay. So this is what I want you to keep in mind. But this relationship is not dependent upon anything at all. It's just a love, pure love. You remember that story when the Akbar was doing the namaz? And when they do the namaz, what they do? They spread a sheet, they sit on it, and they talk to God. And there was a young lady just ran, and accidentally she just walked through that sheet. Akbar got up, got so mad at her. How could you do that to me? Why did you walk on my sheet? That young girl said, I was immersed. My mind was so immersed in the thoughts of my lover, I did not see it. And if you were immersed in the thought of your lover, you wouldn't have seen me going through here. That's the kind of a love we want to develop. And that was just a worldly love, but still she was in love. She did not see anything else. She could only think about meeting the beloved. When we go into our temple in the morning or near our altar, just imagine that you are going to meet your beloved. Whether it's a beloved father, beloved mother, beloved friend, whatever you want to call. Don't we say that Tomev Mata, Cha Pita Tomev, Tomev Bandhu, Cha Sakha Tomev? You can call him anything. But it has to be love though. We got to feel that God is sitting over there, waiting for me. And when we go at the right time every day, you will feel that. You will feel the blessing of God. God is touching you. God is holding you. God is waiting for you. And if the tears roll down your eyes, God will wipe your tears also. But first we have to create this kind of a connection. That's why I said the link or the bond or the clasp, whatever way you can just stay together. And it's not just in the morning at that time or at night, during the daytime also. Because worldly love, if you love your anybody you love, it could be your children, grandchildren, anything, or even money, keep on thinking about that. But when this is Param Prema Rupaha, supreme love, all the time. Okay? So, Satu Param Prema Rupaha Asmin, the devotion is indeed of the nature of supreme love, directed towards God. Param. There's nothing Param higher than that. This Param is God. That's why I said it's directed towards God. Param. See, you remember those two words, par and apar? Apar is lower, par is higher, highest. So this Param, God. Nobody higher than God. Okay. And what is the nature of this love? Amrit Savrupaha cha. The nature of immortality. Amrit. Immortality. So the supreme love of the Lord, called devotion divine, is of the nature of immortality also. Amrit. See, Amrit means nectar. Amrit means milk also. But in this case, Amrit means that it will remain all the time. That's what Amrit means. That's what immortal means. It will stay there constantly, this kind of a love, when you have developed it. See, this love, this has stages. Just like anything else, there are steps. First, we need to practice it, which is called a sadhan bhakti. Because this kind of a love which stays all the time, we may or may not have it right now. But if somebody has done the sadhana, so first stage is a sadhana bhakti. Then comes the bhav bhakti. That's like automatically you just think about God. Then comes the prema bhakti. That's a united with God, like a bondage. You have become, there's a bond, and the worldly bondage has just failed. Then comes a Sneh Bhakti. See, in other Bhakti Shastras, they give the steps. In this particular scripture, he does not go through these stages. Then comes Man Bhakti, Parmey Bhakti, Rag Bhakti, Anurag Bhakti, Mahabhav Bhakti. One, if you remember, one of the lecture was different bhavs. And then Mahabhav, which is Samadhi. Okay, so we are not going through the stages. I just wanted you to know that what he is talking about over here is the highest stage now, Amrit. which stays there all the time. And this kind of a bhakti is God-like. That's why they say that this kind of a bhakti makes a bhagat like a God. Like a Hanumanji became a God. Bhagat becomes a God. Bhagat doesn't want to become a God, but the connection is so severe, so strong that Bhagat becomes, that's why I say Bhagati, Bhagat, Bhagwant, Guru, Chatur Nam, Vapu Ek. So this is what he's talking about when he says Amrita Savrupacha. So divine love for the Lord, he says it's also of the nature of immortality. If we think that our love for God, sometimes it is there and sometimes it's not there, that means we need to do more sadhana. If everything goes according to our wish, we think we love God. Something doesn't go according to our wish, God is not fair to us. That is not love. That's not love. See, why is he using the word immortality? Because we feel in this world there is a constant experience of the change. We are looking for the peace. We go somewhere, have somebody in our life. It could be a relationship, it could be object. It gives us peace for a certain time, then it goes away. But in God, when we have a relationship with God, it just stays the same. Now also, anytime in the future also. That's what Amrit means. And as human beings, we are constantly seeking this peace, this kind of a happiness. But we have not found the source of this kind of a happiness. And that's why we are just looking for in the sense objects. Bhagwan himself says in Bhagavad that Vishyan dhyayat chitam visheshu vishajyate man mam anusmrat chitam mayev praviliyate. He says the mind, which is constantly contemplates upon the sense objects, comes to revel in their finite joy, and the mind that learns to constantly remembers me comes to dissolve into me and revels in me. So in other words, through the mind which was looking for happiness or the joy or the peace in the world, ultimately when it comes to me, then constant joy. And that's what this Amrit really means over here. That this kind of a devotee comes to experience the immortal nature of the infinite bliss. Infinite bliss is only in the infinite, and infinite is only God. So that's why this sutra is reminding us of the Upanishadic declaration also. Brahmavit Brahma eva bhavati. The knower of the Brahma becomes Brahma. And that is infinite. That is immortal. The knowing is the state of fully awakening to the divine. That is the nature of pure consciousness. So you can see that bhakti, the way it's described in this great scripture, right in the beginning, it's just not like a sentimental explosion over here. No, there is a depth in it. There is a sadhana in it. There is a reality in it. This is the kind of a love. So Amrita Savrupaha. Okay. So also of the nature of immortality. So we got to see, that's why all those qualifications which I mentioned, explained it to you, and he said in the term artha, if we have those qualifications, only then we can feel this love, this kind of a love. If we have not worked on those qualifications, then we are deluded. We are deluded. Okay, so we're going to stop it here today. And if anybody has any question, please do ask now, and then we'll have a bhajan by whom? We'll see. Just let me know who wants to sing today. Okay, so Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate Om Shanti 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 Om. So any question, Jyoti?
Poonam?
Hersh, I wanted to ask you that the 7 qualifications that you gave, they are from where? Not from this book, right?
No, they are not from this book. These are, you remember I mentioned the other scriptures over here to you? Shandalyada.
Oh.
Yeah. Because there are more explanation in the other books.
Okay.
So this one is like he just goes directly to that, and the arth really signifies that.
Okay.
See, just
So
like...
it could be the 36 from Gita, or it could be 7 from here, or anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. Because there's so many other devotional books are there.
Yeah.
Okay, even the Vedas also, they talk about it. Yeah. Okay. So that we have to cultivate the qualities. But in Lord Krishna, he just gave like a 35 or 36 over there. But when you condense them, they can be just like these 7.
One more question I have.
Sure.
This 2 that you said in, I think, verse number 2, Satva Asmin. So the 2 I didn't understand. I thought it was 12. TW.
It's a two. Two means indeed, actually.
Indeed. Okay.
And the meaning of two is indeed. But over here, indeed really means this exclusive love. Okay.
That he has given the explanation as only that. Only that.
Only means only God. Only the higher.
Okay.
Okay. So he's talking about that too. Indeed that.
That. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Prem?
Prem has a question.
You have to unmute yourself, Prem. You have to unmute yourself, Prem.
Okay, thank you. These qualities, Harshji, when we do sadhana, do these qualities also automatically develop, or we have to develop these qualities and then we can have the bhakti?
Okay, sadhana really means developing these qualities.
Okay, so these qualities will...
Automatically these qualities won't come.
They won't come.
We need to be aware of it. Otherwise, countless people go to the temples.
Okay.
Countless.
Okay.
People even go to the temples on feet, or some even on the stomach.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong in doing it, but these qualities we need to cultivate.
So we have to keep in mind,
yes,
that
definitely.
we are developing these qualities.
Definitely. Yes. This is something, this is what sadhana is actually.
To consciously develop these qualities.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not gonna, because if God is going to give us these qualities, then God is very fair. Then he will give it to everybody. How come everybody doesn't have the qualities? This is our part. This is where our effort is needed.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Actually, I had a question.
Sure, Pramila.
The seventh quality, what was the word for that?
Anud ras.
Anud.
Ras.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's like a, almost like a, some people, they just keep on giggling. There's nothing wrong in being happy. Happy we should, but Bhagat is little seriousness in a Bhagat also. Okay, not a childishness. Okay.
हाँ जी वो 7 क्वालिटी आप रिपीट कर देंगे एक बार?
Yes, the first one is Vivek.
एक मिनट प्लीज. हाँ जी.
Vivek means discrimination.
हाँ जी.
And discrimination in everything. What we see, what we hear, what we eat, where we go. Discrimination. My own Guruji used to say, whenever you do something, think about it. Is it taking you towards your goal or away from the goal? So that means that part of your mind should always remember what my goal is. See, this way we don't get entangled unnecessary. Otherwise, so many things we do without even thinking. Others are doing it, I'm going to do it too. Bhed chal. See, if we bhed chal, what does it really mean? If you're just following the sheep,
Yeah.
we're going to step on the shit of the other sheep. Right? It's obvious. That's what happens. So just 1 second, Jyoti, let me finish these. I think Kamala is writing. Vivek Vimukh. Vimukh means freedom from desire, worldly desire. Abhyas, practice. Kriya, habit of doing good to others. Kriya, action. So we got to have the seva. Kalyan, Anavsad, cheerfulness. And Anudaras, the absence of excessive hilariousness. Okay. Yes, Jyoti.
Raj.
Thank you, Hershji.
Yes, Raj.
A question was about these also that you just did, the 7 qualifications. Second, Chandalai, is that a darshan or?
That's also a darshan. Yeah,
Chandalai
Chandalai darshan. It's a very difficult, very like a, see, like a Narada Bhakti Sutra, this language is very simple for us to understand. So maybe one day I'll do Chandalai darshan with you, but it's hard to understand.
No, I just thought, so I have the
It's a darshan
reference.
also. Yeah, that's also a darshan. So that's also in a sutra form. Yes.
No,
Thank
Harji, you don't have to do it.
Okay, all right, Poonam.
We get the sar from you, that's good enough.
Yeah, yeah, right. You are getting nichod mil raha hai, right?
We learned a lesson one time, so we don't.
Thank you, Poonam. Yeah, but I like your curiosity, and I can see that you guys are all practicing also. I saw it on your faces yesterday when you came. So keep it up. This journey is long, but it's beautiful. Doesn't matter how long it is. We got God with us. So what difference does it make, right? Journey is very pleasant, very beautiful. So any other question? And who is singing today?
मैं गा सकती हूँ?
Yeah, of course, Kamala, you can sing.
Okay.
Yes. But anybody has a question, Jyoti, or no? We are done.
We're done with questions.